Bob Lazar's story and the legend of Area 51. The Nevada desert holds secrets in its endless sands. Miles of barren landscape stretch in all directions, broken only by jagged mountains and an oppressive silence that feels alive with hidden whispers. Here, tucked away from public eyes, sits one of the most secretive military installations in the world, Area 51. For decades, its very name was taboo, a place denied by the U.S. government, wrapped in a veil of secrecy so thick that only speculation could pierce it. To the outside world, it was nothing more than a testing range, but to those who dared to believe, it was something more, the heart of America's greatest cover-up. And then came Bob Lazar. In 1989, a television station in Las Vegas aired an interview that would ignite a firestorm of conspiracy theories and forever link the name Area 51 with extraterrestrial life. The man in the interview hid his face, used the pseudonym Dennis, and spoke with the quiet conviction of someone who had seen something extraordinary. He claimed he had worked on alien spacecraft at a facility called S4, just south of Area 51. His job, to reverse engineer technology that was not of this earth. At first, his story seemed too fantastical to take seriously. UFO enthusiasts had long claimed that the government was hiding crashed flying saucers, but few provided evidence beyond blurry photos and second-hand stories. Lazar was different. He spoke like a scientist, describing propulsion systems that bent gravity itself. According to him, these craft used a reactor powered by a mysterious element called Element 115, which created a distortion in space-time, allowing the ship to fall through space rather than move in the conventional sense. His words were chilling, captivating, and strangely technical. They didn't sound like a hoax. They sounded like a revelation. As the weeks passed, Lazar stepped out of the shadows, revealing his true identity to the world. He said he was a physicist who had previously worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory. His credentials, he claimed, were what led to his recruitment at S4 there. He was assigned to one of 9 flying discs stored in camouflaged hangars carved into a mountainside. The craft he worked on, nicknamed the Sport Model, was unlike anything humanity had ever created. It had no rivets, seams, or bolts. It was as if the entire thing had been molded from a single piece of material. Inside, the layout was baffling. Chairs far too small for human occupants. A reactor at its center that emitted no heat and no visible fuel source. But perhaps the most unsettling part of Lazar's story was what he said about the origin of these machines. They were not made by any earthly nation. They were, he believed, artifacts from another world. The public response was explosive. Newspapers ran stories. Late-night radio shows lit up with callers sharing their own UFO sightings. Area 51, once a whispered rumor, was thrust into the spotlight. Thousands of curious citizens began flocking to the Nevada desert, camping near its borders, hoping to glimpse something in the night sky. Yet, as quickly as Lazar's fame rose, efforts to discredit him began. Investigators could find no records of his supposed education at MIT or Caltech, no employment history at Los Alamos as a physicist. though a 1982 Los Alamos phone directory listed his name, and a photograph of him standing by a particle accelerator emerged. Critics argued he was a fraud, fabricating his past to lend credibility to an elaborate hoax. Supporters countered that his records had been deliberately erased as part of a government cover-up. To them, the absence of proof was proof itself. Lazar's life took a darker turn. He claimed he was followed, his phones tapped, his life threatened. Once, he said, a colleague who had confided in him about the project disappeared without a trace. Another time, his home was allegedly broken into, documents and materials stolen. Whether these events were real or paranoia-fueled remains unknown, but Lazar's fear seemed genuine. He insisted he had come forward not for fame, but because he believed the public had a right to know what their government was hiding. The decades rolled on, and while skeptics dismissed Lazar's story, elements of it stubbornly lingered. In 2003, scientists synthesized Moscovium element 115, a superheavy element Lazar had mentioned years earlier, when it was still unknown to science. While Moscovium's properties do not match Lazar's claims it is highly unstable, believers pointed to its discovery as validation that Lazar was telling at least part of the truth. Meanwhile, Area 51 continued to expand in secrecy. Satellite images revealed new runways, hangars, and underground structures. Lazar largely retreated from public life, running a small scientific supply company in Michigan. But the legend of his story refused to die. In 2018, filmmaker Jeremy Corbell released the documentary Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, reigniting interest in his claims. Lazar, now older and visibly weary of the attention, remained consistent in his account. If it was a lie, it was one he had maintained flawlessly for over 3 decades, feat few hoaxes manage. The cultural impact of Lazar's revelations is immeasurable. His testimony is credited with transforming Area 51 from an obscure military base into a global symbol of UFO secrecy. His descriptions of alien propulsion technology have inspired countless science fiction stories, films, and conspiracy theories. And his narrative has fueled a broader movement demanding government transparency about unidentified aerial phenomena. In recent years, that movement has gained surprising traction. The Pentagon has released declassified videos of unidentified objects exhibiting flight characteristics beyond known technologies. Former intelligence officials like Luis Elizondo and Christopher Mellon have gone public with claims of ongoing investigations into UFOs. In 2021, a government report acknowledged that many such sightings remain unexplained. To believers, this is the slow unraveling of a truth Lazar hinted at decades ago. And so, the mystery persists. Was Bob Lazar a visionary whistleblower or a gifted storyteller? Did he truly witness alien technology, or did he fabricate a tale that became self-sustaining through belief? The answer remains as elusive as the desert lights seen over Groom Lake, flickering in the night sky before vanishing without a trace. One thing is certain: the story of Area 51 and UFO cover-ups has transcended mere conspiracy theory. become modern folklore, a mirror reflecting humanity's deepest hopes and fears. Perhaps it speaks to our yearning to know we are not alone, to believe that the universe holds wonders beyond our imagining. Or perhaps it warns us of the dangers of unchecked secrecy, of what happens when governments hide too much for too long. In the end, whether Lazar's claims are fact or fiction, they have forever changed how we view the stars and what might be watching us from beyond them.